The 2023 Champions Tournament is starting off with banger after banger matchups. These are my predictions as well as storylines that excite me the most heading into the group stage. But now let's start off with Group D, which many people are calling the group of death, danger, and disappointment. Once you realize that out of the 20 possible starters in this group, 10 are international champions, you start to realize where the danger is coming from. Once you have tasted victory and have that pedigree in your resume, anything is possible. It will come down to which team is informed the most. However, each team is looking a little fraudulent for different reasons. I have the most faith in Team Liquid, but since you can make a strong case for each team, this has to be the only right way to do a prediction for this group. Now, there's a reason why people are calling this the group of death. Only two can move on, so for the other teams, it might be an end of an era. Especially for DRX and Loud, once seemed to have a clear path to becoming supreme juggernauts in their region for tournaments to come, as well as building a dynasty-like resume. But now both show internal cracks that only winning can seal up. Death might be a bit extreme for Navi and Team Liquid, but if they fail to move on, disappointment isn't a word far behind. The extremely hyped Team Liquid did win their region, which many are calling the weakest out of the three original. They got eliminated early during lock-in to Pacific's very own Team Secret. Then in Tokyo, they got sent home after two NA teams bodied them on at least one map. Then Navi. A lot of people don't see them moving on, and that alone should be enough to tell you how their reputation has tanked because of the trolling allegations. I know this team is too talented not to get over that 4th place hump, but being sent home early would just be cherry on top for the haters to enjoy. Now, if Group D is seen as the death of potential dynasty runs, then Group A should be seen as the birth of new ones, where EDG has proven themselves to be the current rulers of Valorant China. PRX seemingly have no real challengers in the Pacific region, and even Crew see themselves in a South American power vacuum, with Loud's dominance in question. EDG have to carry the weight of a massive nation on their shoulders to the international stage. People have slept on this team mainly because their previous results were underwhelming, but now teams will be on high alert when facing them, after their impressive Tokyo run. Then there's PRX, one of the few teams people have dethroning fnatic and standing in the way of their treble trifecta. Don't get me wrong, CGRS had his moments, but he was still one of the lowest rated players in the tournament, which kind of challenges the idea of how important stats really are when they don't quantify everything that goes on into a team's mental, chemistry, and synergy. Nonetheless, we finally get to see PRX fully unleashed as one of the favorites to win it all. Plus, we are most likely to get a third meeting between PaperX and Edward Gaming if they win their initial matchups. PaperX won those meetings in the past, but it took a full 3 maps both times to decide a winner. So expect a very juicy game if this happens. Next, we have Crew, and their regular season proves that it's not if you win or lose, but how you win and lose, which is important for an esports like Valorant that gives out a lot of second chances. Even though they went 0-9 in the regular season, a lot of those games were very close, even against the top teams in Americas. So all they needed was a break to reset their mind, which they did by practicing, strategizing, and playing GTA roleplay. Yes, GTA roleplay. Maybe grinding 24/7 isn't always the answer. Having fun, touching grass, and some relaxation is important too. Last, we have Gen Giants, which would be a miracle if they make it past the group stage. If they do though, it will fight against the narrative that emea is the weakest region out of the 3 original Valorant territories. I have EDG and PRX making it past this group, but wouldn't be surprised if Crew could take one of their spots. Maybe we can go back to back with another America Cinderella story. Now, a lot of people are saying Group B is the easiest out of the 4. But I think it's full of dark horses. And just to remind you, a dark horse in sports is a team that isn't expected to make it far, but does anyway. And many of the storylines center around EG for a number of reasons. First, I think it would be hilarious if they fail to make it past group stages or even lose to FPX after Busio said this about China.
China will never be better than NA, for one, in Valorant. China or, I think some Korean teams can do it. But the reason I say this is because we will actually grind. We will make sure these Chinese teams will never be close to us. Only the Chinese. I think the Korean teams could do damage. I think any of the Asian teams could do damage, but China's 3 years behind, and I mean, if we play enough, they will not be. I don't think they'll be close to us.
And to add context to this clip, Busio was more calling out North American League players for not grinding hard enough as the reason why NA League is behind everyone else. Nonetheless, I'm sure Chinese players in this tournament will use the clip as extra motivation when facing NA teams, especially against Evil Genius and Busio. Also, Champions will be a heat check to see if their Masters Tokyo run was legit or just a lucky fluke. And I personally feel like if they fail to make it out of the group, at this point we have to say the second place curse is real and alive. Another team that no one's really talking about as a dark horse is T1. Even though they got grouped in Masters Tokyo, they lost very close games to NRG and EDG, both teams that made huge waves throughout the tournament. Just like Crew, I think people need to focus on how T1 lost rather than looking at surface results. Next, we have Foot, which is another team you shouldn't sleep on. There's just something about Turkey producing insane aimers that can give fellow Turkish fans hope. Valorant is more than just aim, but having great aim can still be a game changer in my opinion. And lastly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about FPX, but pay attention to that EG matchup. If they win, they can spin that narrative that China is lacking behind the rest of the world. Nonetheless, I have EG and T1 moving forward. And lastly, we have Group C. We might get to see the preview of the finals in this group if NRG and fnatic meet up, which could very well happen. fnatic is on pace to be the first team to get a treble trifecta, which could potentially cement them as Valorant's first winning dynasty. NRG still has the pedigree of winners as being the spiritual successor to Optic. However, Bilibili Gaming could upset some people. They were the only team in China's qualifier to take a map off of EDG, as well as push them into overtime twice during the finals. This is their first international tournament, so it would be a long shot for that to happen. Unlike for Zeta Division, who at one point in time captured the hearts of many by placing third in Masters Reykjavik. That was over a year ago, and a lot has changed since then. I don't know how strong they will be with the plot armor this year. Nonetheless, I think it's safe to say that NRG and fnatic will move on out of this group. Thanks for watching this video. Did I miss any interesting storylines? And who do you have making out of each group stage? Let me and others know about them down in the comment section below. And I'll see you in the next video.